Good evening, everyone. Welcome back into the session. Now, if you guys can hear me clearly, please confirm it in the chat box. Okay, thank you so much for confirmation, guys. And just give me a moment. As guys, last week we discussed about SDLC life cycle, software development life cycle, that what stages will be there, and we have studied that what kind of methods we have in developing a software. Like we have studied waterfall model, we study incremental model, we study V model. These models we come one by one and we study their edge cases, and we see that what was the problem at that time with them. So we have covered everything in details. Now, the last method, perhaps there are lots of methods in here that we in software industries we have that they are following it. But in general, and terminologies that mostly 90% of the companies are nowadays using is the agile methodology. Agile is the very best and perfect framework for developing a software. Like there you can track even a single uh, unit of your task. Even you can track 1 minute of your time at the company at that particular project. So this is the flexibility of Agile that gives us. Now, what does Agile do? I told you that Agile is divided into three parts. First is Scrum, Kanban, and XP. Actually, these are not connected with each other. These are the three different strategies in Agile methodology that people are following. And the most usable methodology in Agile is Scrum. That people are using it. Kanban and extreme programming has different purpose of using. So that's why we don't go deeper into that. We will see the difference only, that what is the difference between them. But mostly people are using Scrum methodology. Now, what is Scrum? Let's see. Let me open my pen. Let's open Paint. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's draw something. Yeah. Now I told you that we have one another methodology which is named as a what? Agile. Now Agile is again divided into three parts. Guys, as we covered this in last week's session that we missed, but I didn't go that much deeper. Those who were not present on last week's session, so I want to recap it first 15 minutes. After that, we will resume with the new topics. For those who it is a repeat, so they can learn it again. It's a good chance. Now, in agile methodology or terminology, we have what, guys? First is Scrum. Second is Kanban. And the third one is what? The third one is XP, extreme programming. We will focus a lot in Scrum. This Kanban, we will see the difference in the definition, and we will also see the difference in definition of the extreme programming. That's all about the Kanban and extreme programming. Now, in Scrum, when we were trying to focus on Scrum, in Scrum, we have a lots of things. First is that in Scrum, you have what? Three roles. What is these three specific roles that Scrum working on that? Let's see that. In Scrum, you have three roles. These three roles are, first role is product owner. And PO, the short form, which stands for product owner. The next role that you have in Scrum is Scrum Master itself. Scrum Master. The next is, we have what? The development team and the testing team. Dev plus test team that we have. We have these three roles and what? And our Scrum methodology. These are wrapped into one box. Let's wrap it into one box. These are the roles or terminologies that people are having inside the company. Now, who is product owner? Product owner is the person that we can say that he is the experienced person. Experienced person inside the company. Inside the company. What he does is he acts as a what? He acts as a client. Because he understands what actually client need from us. He know what is the requirement of the client, because he has the more than 15 to 20 years of experience in software industry. He knows that okay, uh, once he read the BRD, the business requirement documents, he can understand that what's going on and what will be the result of the system. So he is responsible for what? Because inside the company, each and every time we can't call the client, hey, this part of the code is released or this part of function of the software is released, so please come and check, because client don't have that much time to come inside the company. Who is going to play the role of client in here? The product owner will play the role of client. A role of client for us. Why he's playing the role of client? Because he understands that what clients need, what is the need of the client and what clients want from the software. He will definitely guide the Scrum Master in the dev team. This was the definition about the product owner. Now, who is Scrum Master? Let me divide this. Who is Scrum Master? He is the person who leads the team. Leads the team and clear roadblocks from the way of dev and test team. He is responsible for these sorts of things. What he will do, his initial task is to do what? To prepare a plan, create a plan, assign the tasks, monitor the task, clear concept of who? Clear concept of dev team, and actually explain the business requirement that actually clients wants what from the system to the development team. This is the duty and responsibility of the Scrum Master. Now, what does dev team and test team do? These are both the number of peoples That do what? That do the development and development plus testing the software. They're responsible for the code, for the testing, for the qualities, for everything inside the project. And in case if they have any question, if the question arises in their mind, what they will do? They can't approach directly who? They can't approach directly a what product owner. Instead, they will do what? They will approach who? Scrum Master, their leader, their team leader. That hey, sir, I need the explanation regarding to this function, regarding to this test, regarding to this test case scenario, regarding to this part of the code. What kind of the future actually wants the client? Okay, now if the concept of the Scrum Master is clear and he understands that what is the requirement, he will explain it back to who? To this developer, and the normal flow and working flow will goes on. But in case if he don't understand, he will approach product owner and will ask that, sir, what is the requirement in this particular case that you have written? The product owner explain it to Scrum Master, and Scrum Master explain it to developer. Now we can say that this Scrum Master is also a bridge between who? Between two person. He is the bridge that we can say. He is the connection point between development team, testing team, and the product owner. This was all about the roles inside a Scrum that we have and we are going to follow. Till this point, guys, do we have any questions? Anything which is confusing and you didn't understand? You can unmute yourself, ask a question. You can put it in the chat box. Anyway, you can. Okay, you don't have a question? Then that's okay. Now let's jump back to slide. This was all about what? The rules which we discussed inside the Scrum. Now what we have, guys, we have one another synonym for the Scrum, which we can say 3-3-5 framework. What does these 3-3-5 framework means? Let's discuss this. First three means, let's go back to this. Let's say. Now the synonym of the Scrum or another name or equivalent name is 3-3-5 what? Framework. What does this means? Let's see this. First three means Scrum has three roles. Scrum has three roles inside the company. What are these three roles? Product owner, Scrum Master, and Dev plus testing team. This is the three roles that we have inside what? Inside the company. Or basically, these two, we can call it as a dev team. Now, what we have next? What this second three stands for? Second three stands for what? Artifacts. In artifacts, we have what? Three artifacts: product backlog, sprint backlog, and product increment. We will see that also. You can see that we have in here. The second three is called three artifacts, and these three artifacts are namely product backlog, sprint backlog, and product increment. And last, we have 5 events. What is this 5 events stands for? Sprint, sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, sprint retrospective. Each of them individually works, how, what is the definition, what is the meaning of them. We will see one by one in next slide. Now let's discuss what is going on in the next slide. Now let me click. Okay. Now in here, we have some gender terminologies in next slide inside the Scrum. I told you that Scrum consists of a team of 7 people. How 7 people? We have one product owner, we have one Scrum Master, we have 3 developer and 2 tester. If we count it and add it, the number of the people will be 7. Because Scrum believes in small teams, that small teams can handle the complex project, and the roles of everyone is obviously visible to everyone, that everybody knows what is his responsibility and what he needs to do inside the project. Now next is, we have the concept of the sprint. What is sprint? We will discuss about this. As a definition, we can say that it's interval of a time frame in which the work has to be completed. Usually it lies between 2 weeks to 1 month. Let's say, what does this sprint mean? Sprint means, guys, whenever, for example, you're developing a bank website. Let me divide this. You're developing a bank website. Now inside the bank website, when a user is going to log in, it has what kind of functionality? It has login functionality. It has registration functionality. Registration. It has, we can see that add accounts, because a user can have multiple accounts in one bank. Next, we can say that balance check. These etc, we can say other functionality as well. We can add it inside this bank application. Now each of them, login is a separate task, registration is a separate task, add account is a separate task, and balance check is a separate task. Now whenever a development team starts working on this login, they will assign some period of time, like say, hey, we are a team of 3 people and we will complete this login in 1 week. Now this duration of 1 week, which this 3 people are assigning or giving, is called sprint. In general terminology, we will say 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, but in a professional way, if we want to clear it, if we want to say, or if we want to talk inside the company, people will use sprint, 1 sprint, 2 sprint, 3 sprint. It is belongs to the duration of the time that development team are assigning. I hope that this sprint concept is clear. So what is sprint? Sprint is the time duration which we assign to a particular task, that when this task will be completed or ended. That's all about the sprint. Now next up is, what is product owner? I already explained it, that who is the product owner. As a definition, is the key stakeholder of the application, represent customer side. I have already told you. He has the final authority in every decision from the side of the customer. Now, who is Scrum Master? I have already told you that who is the Scrum Master, what is the position of the Scrum Master. He is the facilitator of a Scrum team. In case of any roadblocks, he resolves what? Them. It is the mediator between a PO and team, the bridge that I told you. Now next is, what is user story? This concept is important. Let's see what is user story. Let's see first the definition. A user story is a requirement which defines what is required by the users as a functionality. Now what this? Let's see it in the drawing section. Now let's see what is user story, guys. For example, you heard about the BRD documents. You understand the BRD, that what is BRD documents and what does this BRD stands for. BRD, business requirement document. And this document is generated when the business analyst people go and sit a meeting with the client and ask the requirement, and they write down every requirement, every and single each small details in a piece of a paper or a format of document which is provided from the company side. Now this BRD will be handed over to who? To a product owner. Hand over to a product owner, PO. Who is product owner? He is the senior person inside the company that he will take the decision. He will check first this BRD, business requirement document, and according to that, he will assign the task and he will check that what is needed to be added in this project. Now the next job is that after this BRD is hand over to product owner, what will happen? The product owner will create what? A separate documents, or inside this documents, again, this document is BRD, but this BRD is different because this BRD is written by business analyst and it is little bit rough BRD. We can say it is little bit rough. They write everything, unnecessary thing as well. They have read the necessary thing as well. But the position of the product owner is that he will filter this BRD and change it to a best BRD, that from this they will create a FRD, functional requirement document. Now each of the steps, for example, a bank application needs what? Let's take the example. A bank application needs login, needs register, needs what? Add account function, and etc. These are the functionality of the what? Login system of the bank. Now, as a product owner, the responsibility of the product owner is what? He will write down first user story, first use case. As a user, he will write like this. As a user, I want a login system. He take what? He take this login functionality, which they mentioned, and put it in a proper way that he told, as a user, I want what? I want a login system. Next, as a user, I want register. It means that I will write it short. It means the meaning of the sentence is that he will write it very long. As a user, I want to register myself directly through the website of the bank's application. Now, each and every star or bullet point which I add in here, this is nothing but what? A user story. In a technical terminology, it is called a user story. The requirement and functionality which user wants from the system, and that is written in a piece of paper in a proper way, which is the actual way which it need to be written, is called a user story. Now, till this point, you understand that what is user story? Till this point, any question, any confusing point? Okay, you don't have a question? Excellent. Now, this was all about what? User stories. Now, the next is what we have. We have epics. Now, what is this epics? Let's see. We have the definition that says these are the user stories which are not defined and are kept for the future sprint. What does this mean, guys? Let me go back to slide. And let's say in here. For example, people, let's take the example of WhatsApp. WhatsApp didn't release in first version and people still are not using the same version. WhatsApp developed in these many years and they add different versions for WhatsApps. Now what happened? For the first time, when they want to create what WhatsApp application, they taken care in a one formatted BRD that we want this much of functionality like video call, voice call, we want chatting option. We want what? Well, after that, we want to send emojis, send pictures, and etc requirement. But in first release, they can't do all of the tasks. They will do what? They will create it and release. That first of all, they will introduce voice call, chatting, and sending emojis. They will take these user stories from BRD document. BRD. From BRD, they took which user stories? They take these three user story. The remaining user stories are video call, sending picture, and etc functionality which remain. The remaining user stories, this video call, sending picture, and etc functionality, or what which they have kept it for future, that okay, after the first version and second version we will release that. Whatever functionality and requirement which is remaining for the future development is called epic. I hope that this point is clear till now. We call it as a what? We call it as a epic. Now I hope that this epic concept is also clear, that what is epic. Now let's jump back to slide. Now we have what, guys? We have product backlog. What is this product backlog? Let's discuss about this. This is a kind of a bucket or source where all the user stories are kept. It is maintained by who? By product owner. He prioritizes it as a per the business need. This is about what? Product backlog. Now, how this product backlog is working, let's see it. This is nothing but, let's take an example. All of the user story of the, let's say Facebook. I will take an example of Facebook. Inside the application of the Facebook, what you have? You have a lots of user stories like login, registration. User stories are nothing, guys, but what? That functionality inside the application. Posting, comments, let's see, sharing, and etc. Each of them are user story and functionality. Now, user stories. Now what? All of the user story, which we kept it inside one box or one format of document, this format or this box is called product backlog. Backlog means what? Something which is remaining, still we didn't start to work on them. This is called as a product backlog. Backlog means what? Something which we didn't start working on that yet. It is called as a backlog. Now, product means the things, everything's functionality inside this Facebook application. Facebook application itself a product. So whatever functionality we have inside that, it totally depends on Facebook products, or we can say it's a Facebook functionalities. Now this box, again, all of the functionality in user story, which we kept inside one file, or we can say one bucket, it's called as a product backlog. This was what? This was about the product backlog. Next, we have what, guys? We have sprint backlog. What is sprint backlog? The collective list of all user story which the Scrum teams who work on a particular sprint is called sprint backlog. Now, what is the sprint backlog means? Let's say, for example, we have this Facebook. This is my product backlog box. We have login, we have register, we have what? We have comments and etc. Now, how this, let me use this product backlog. Now the development team will select that, hey, we will first work on this user story, on login user story, and on registration user story. They will take these both user stories and they will start working. The moment they took these both user stories and added in another box, like say, they started login and register. Guys, the moment that I'm saying boxes, once we start working with Jira, we will implement these, everything which we discuss in here in theory base, we will implement it in a practical way. Then you will understand that why I'm calling it box. The moment that user stories are selected by who? Selected by dev team, that we will work on this user stories first. This this box, which the tasks are going on, is called sprint backlog. Sprint backlogs. The comments in ATC functionality is remaining, but the things, the functionality which they are working on is called as sprint backlog. Means these sprint means these backlogs, these functionality are in a process, but still not yet developed. People are working on top of that. You understand that what I'm saying? The user story which we select from product backlog, which we want to start working in developing it, and we add it in another box or bucket, it is called as a sprint backlog. Sprint backlog, basically we can say that the thing which we are working on top of that, the first priority that we need to create it in the system is called a sprint backlog. Now next is, what is product increment? Product increment is what? The tangible piece of software delivered at the end of each sprint. Now let me see. For example, in this box, what we did, we take the login functionality and we take the registration functionality. Now, the development team will first build what? Will first build the registration user story. He will start in this registration sprint. They will start on register sprint. They will do what actually? In registration sprint, once they start it and they complete it, end it, and they test it and check it that it is working fine. This is called what, guys? This is called as a product increment, that a tangible piece of software is delivered. The registration is one part of the system which is completed. This is called as a product increment. If someone tell you that, hey, we have one product increment in this week, it means that they have delivered one functionality of the system, which is called as a register. They have developed one piece of the system that is called registration. And its synonym is called product increment. It is the technical terms and terminology that people are using inside the company. Product increments means that I completed the registration functionality. I check it, it works fine. Now this is called a product increment. And second, if they complete the login as well, this will be my second product increment. Product increment. This is my next product increment. Now you understand what is this product increment? And now the total of these product increments. Let me draw it in here. Product increment plus product increment. The total of them is called release. Sorry. Release. The total of them all called what? Release. Why it is calling release? Because this release will happen after 1 month. After each 1 month, we have one release. And release, whatever user stories you have selected or you have taken that, hey, okay, in this month, I took login and registration and assigned 2 sprints, 2-week sprint for login and 2-week sprint for this registration. That in this 2-week, I will complete the registration, and second 2-week, I will complete the login functionality. Now, both of this product increment, which I added, and the month is also complete, the 30 days are also complete. Now this is called as a release. The total or the bunch or the group of a product increment is called as a release. If someone tells you that, hey, we have released, so you have to understand that, okay, the month is complete and whatever task the user stories they have selected for this month, this is also complete. Now they want to show it to client. I hope that till this point, everything is clear. This was about the release. We didn't add it in the slide, but this was an extra information that I added for the sake of information. Now, next, what we have, guys? Next, we have story points. What is story points? It is used to decide the complexity of a story. Each story point is taken from Fibonacci series. Now, what does this mean? For example, let me tell you. Let's say you're developing a bank application, bank app, and inside bank application, you have withdraw and deposit. These two functionality, think that it is very complex. Now you have other stories as well in here, user stories like login user stories, registration user stories. Now, whenever the task is assigned, let's say the draw is assigned to Ahmad, the deposit is assigned to Khan, and the login is assigned to Ali. Now, what is happening? Ahmad, Khan, and Ali will give a ranking, a number, a user story points, that how many points is. Like say, Ahmad will assign 7 points to draw method, to draw function. Khan will assign 8 points to deposit, and Ali will assign 2 points to login. When you see this, it doesn't mean that their ranking is good and this is good, this is, no, this is not working like this. 7 means that it is complex. This task or functionality is complex. 8 mean is very complex. It will take a lots of time. And 2 means it is less complex. It doesn't have that much complexity. This point, the much it hires, it will, the thing, we can say that it is very complex. It is very, very much complex, and it is less complex. We can say like this. Then now you understand that what is user stories? User stories are nothing but the points or the identifying the complexity of that particular function, that how much this function is complex. Now next is, what is velocity? Velocity is nothing but when you add the total of these points in one product backlog, you have what? You have a lots of user stories. Let's say we have 3 user story in a whole application. And people, Ahmad, Khan, and Ali assigned points 7, 8, and 2. Now add this 7 plus 8, it will be 15. 15 plus 2, it will be 17. Now the whole product backlog velocity is 17. If someone says velocity is 17, you think about this, that the whole product backlog feature is 17. The complexity is 17. That's the technical terminology that now people are using. You just learn it. Once you go inside the company, you will definitely understand that why they're using this techniques, why they're using this terminologies inside the company. As of now, just learn the trick and the concept, that what are they used for. This was all about the epics, product backlogs, the sprint backlogs, product increments, sprint, scrum master, user story, product owner, and story points. Everything we discussed, whatever terminology and tricks and terms which we have inside the scrum, we have already discussed this. Now, till this point, do you have any question, guys? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back again. I will pause the recording for a minute. Now you have understand about the velocity. You have understand about the story points, product increment, sprint backlog, product backlog, epics, a sprint, what are the roles. Now here is one, still we have one point that I didn't explain it at that story point, because at first I wanted to guys to you to know about the velocity. Then I will come back to this Fibonacci series that I have mentioned in this note. What is this Fibonacci series and why they're using it in this rules and story points? Let's discuss about this. Yeah, definitely. Hidayah will explain about this points right now. Okay, let me jump back to Bent and let's see. Wahida, this user story point is nothing but the number of complexity. Like say, I will say you that suppose you're doing some task, you're working, let's take an example, you're working in airport. Let me tell you a clear example. You're working in airport. In airport, they have a categories like business class category, economy class category, or I don't know whether they have it or not. I guess, in my opinion, let's take an example, VIP category. Now the economy class category, because their customers are a lot, people are a lot traveling through economy, number of people are a lot in there. And in business class, there is less number of people. In VIP, we have very less number, because this VIP category is for those who are like president, like defense minister, or like intelligence head. These people are traveling through VIPs category. In business class, mostly those people who have lots of money or businessmen, those people are booking the tickets and traveling. But in economy class, people are usually middle class people are traveling. And the number of people which they are standing in this queue or this line are a lot. Now the person who sit behind this counter, he need to react and work very fast to cover all the customers so that they don't miss the flight, they don't miss the ticket. So for that reason, If the number of people is a lot in the queue and they're waiting for the procedure to proceed and go ahead, there is a lots of load on the head of this person who's sitting behind the counter of economy. Now, if you ask this person that, hey, if I tell you that rank your work complexity or your work pressure from 1 to 8, what are you gonna do? He will definitely select the 8. That my work complexity and my work hardness is very high, very hard, very complex. I can't handle it by myself. I need one another partner to divide this pressure. This is the story point which you add to your work. Now what happened in development team also, when the task is assigned to a developer, the developer has the power or has the authority to say that he can say that this task is very complex, this task is less complex, and this complexity, they will introduce it through numbers like 7, 8, 2, they will assign. Now, how this number will assign to them, let's see the concept. I told you that they are using Fibonacci series. What is Fibonacci series? Fibonacci series starting from 0, 1, and these 0 and 1, from these two digits, they're generating the rest digits. How this will be generated? 0 plus 1 will be 1. Now 0, 1, and 1. Now again, when you add these two, the result will be this third one. Now 1 plus 1, if you add it, again it will be 2. Now for generating the other position digit, you have to add this 1 plus 2 equal to 3. Now for generating the next one, 2 plus 3 equal to 5. Now for generating the next one, you have to add 3 to 5. 3 plus 5 equal to what? 8. Now if you want to generate the next digit, 5 plus 8, 13. Now if you want to add the next digit, 8 plus 13 equivalent, it will be 21, and this will goes on like this. This is the rules of Fibonacci series. Now how we can assign these rules to that? We should provide those numbers. Now we will not go with 0, we will start with 1. We can assign 1 to task complexity or user story point. We can assign 2, we can assign 3, we can assign 5, we can assign 8, we can assign 13, we can assign 21. But I don't think so that it will goes on till 13. The moment it reach from 1 to 8, they will stop in here and they will not go beyond this. Because here I have given you the note that the moment if the story point is greater than or equal to 8, it is broken into 2 more stories. It means that that task will be divided to 2 more tasks. If I say that, hey, my user story is 8, so you need to do what? It will be divided to more user stories, and one user story will be assigned to one person, and one user story will be assigned to another person. And according to that, they will assign that 4 is this user, that much complexity, and other ones also assign as a 4. Like the same example which I gave you at the airport, that the moment that we ask the person of economy counter that how much is your workload, he will say 8. And if we ask them what is the solution for that, he will ask that, hey, add one another person with me so that we can divide the task. So once the moment they say 8 and we assign one another person, now the load is divided into 4 and 4. Now the task is also, the work is also same in the company, that when the user stories reach till 8, they need to divide the task into 2 more user stories or user story point that they can say. This was all about the Fibonacci series and points that how we will assign inside the company. Wahida, I hope that your question is clear now. You understand how people are assigning the user stories. Any other question? Okay, now let's jump back and let's move to another slide. Now, guys, we will see what are the activities that are done in the Scrum methodology team. Once a developer or a team leader select the Scrum methodology, so what kind of the procedure will be happening through this sprint or duration of the projects? First thing is the planning meeting. What is this planning meeting? It is the meeting that Scrum Master will do what? Scrum Master will plan everything. And he will discuss this plan with the team members, with the dev team and testing team. He will share this plan with them and will discuss this. The discussion of this plan is called planning meeting. Now, next we have execution of a sprint task. Execution of the sprint task means what? The moment that a developer selects a user story from a product backlog and assign it to a sprint backlog, it means that they start working on that sprint working. This is called a execution of sprint task. It means that they start working on this particular sprint or this particular user stories. Now, next we have what? Daily stand-up. Daily stand-up means what? You guys might have this experience of this, that before the start of the day, mostly before the start of the day or at the end of the day, end of the day, this meeting will happen every day. Why? Because, okay, if it happens at the end of the day, I'm the team scrum master and I will ask, Wahida, what you have did today? Okay, Shike, what you have did today? Ahmad, what you have did today? They will one by one tell me that, sir, I work on this, I work on that, I add this functionality. According to that, they will continue. If I ask this before start of the day, it means at the early morning, Ahmad, what you have did yesterday? What you have did, Mahmoud, yesterday? These sorts of tasks I will ask it, and they will tell me that yesterday I did this, yesterday I did that, and at that day I will assign that, okay, today you will have to do this, and you have to keep track of this information. Like this, they are exchanging the information between each others. This is called daily stand-up. Now we have review meeting. What is this review meeting? A review meeting means that whenever I'm completing the task, I'm complete with the task, I'm complete with the project. Let's take an example of a project. This project will be reviewed by who? By product owner, by PO. He will give the feedback that whether you guys have developed it perfectly, whether you guys have developed it in a way that customer wants and the result is actually what the customer needs. This is called a review meeting, that this project will be handed over to product owner, so he will check it. Last, we have retrospective meeting. What does this means? For example, you are developing a bank application system. Whatever challenges and problems that you have faced and during the creation of this bank application, you already understand this. Suppose after 1 year, one another challenge, one another bank application project will come to you. Now you are familiar that what kind of challenges is inside the bank, developing a bank application system, and what I have to do and what I have to avoid to don't go to that mistake, same mistake again. Now retrospective meeting means that avoiding previous mistakes which you had done inside the previous project, to avoid that mistake and to get better result in another project. This is called a retrospective meeting. I hope that this activity which they are done, which they're going to do inside the Scrum methodology is clear to all of you. guys, this was all about the Scrum methodology, which we have discussed. Until this point, do you have any question? Anything which has confused you? You can ask me. Question? I guess everybody just understand whatever I have explained. Everybody understand that. Okay, excellent. I will stop the session right in here. We are done for today. Tomorrow, the target is we will explaining the Kanban. We will go with the Kanban based Scrum. What is the difference? We will see the extreme programming. We will check what is the acceptance criteria. We will take a look of advantage and disadvantage, and we will hit the starting point of SDLC, but we will not go that much deeper into SDLC. That's all about today, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Now I will stop the recording for a moment.